So some of the things that I want to tell you about that will help us get that done is first, we need to expand, we'll continue to expand our grassroots outreach. And we will continue to give away. We've developed things like we actually have a curriculum. We actually have some in the back if you want. There's Appreciation Week number 4 right here. You know, we got week 1 is Eric Gilbert's in there, Akiva's mom. We actually have a toolkit. We actually have a conversation field guide that you have, and this stuff's really well done. And students like using this stuff until their friends tell them not to, so they put it on their devices. It's kind of funny. They use this, but then they use their devices and just pull it up. But we needed to continue to develop more of these resources. We're going to develop all kinds of new things so we can grow this. Obviously, we have posters and stickers and T-shirts and food and signage and printing, design, web, social media, podcasts we're going to develop. And that's a big focus as we continue to do really well our grassroots. And then secondly, to do really well with identifying, equipping, and releasing activators, change makers. And one of the things that we're growing is we've even have 25 new videos that we developed with Osamide, who you heard last year as a speaker, and Andrew Hama. Actually, they both go to Princeton, which is kind of ridiculous. And we're doing a whole video series where we succinct everything we do with Whisper, where we can effectively train and we can start producing this on a larger level, a potential mass scale. And we're going to develop a whole training platform this year that everything's going to be put on the internet. So when Clay, who gets up here, he can just pull it up and you don't have to get a text picture from me every week on what you're leading. Because we kind of have it down, but we're able to succinct it where there's videos and there's training and all this really good content. And we've received really good feedback for all we've done and make everything scale on a higher level. And then third, which is administrative and operations assistance to help run our campaigns. We obviously, as we grow, are going to need help in those things. And so tonight, it would be incredible if we raised, even in this room, $150,000. If we raised $150,000 tonight, we can train like 36 to 40 adult leaders. We can train up to like 500 plus change makers who lead, impacting 15 to 20,000 students, probably minimum, having hundreds of thousands of conversations. My goal is to get that into the millions of conversations. And we want to change things. Forsyth County, the area we birthed Whisper. We love Forsyth County. But let me give you an example of why we've got to launch this a lot more in Forsyth County. And there's a lot of Forsyth County people in here. Mitch Young, new statistics, and Gary, you've probably heard this. They created a new thing called the Student Advocacy Specialist. I think there's a couple of them. Well, they created it for at-risk, Every high school's got one. They created one for every high school, and it's for at-risk students. The first year, they had 280 sent to the Student Advocacy Specialist. This year, they're already almost at 5,000. All right? This ain't no joke. Forsyth County, we're like, no offense, we're the best. You know, Forsyth County, we got the money. I love Forsyth County. But let me tell you something. It ain't perfect. And we've got to focus and get it done the right way. You can create a program, and programs have their place, but we've got to change it from the inside out. We've got to do it through the students. We've got to be organic, and we've got to think outside the box and be unconventional. And that's what Whisper was always created to be. So the current budget for us this year in 2022 and 2023 is $250,000, which for me, for the impact we're making, is I think we're using our resources well. I do. I think for having this kind of impact and having a budget like that, like we have, is not bad. And so, but obviously to growth and accelerate our growth and take advantage of the plans for us, we've got to raise more funds, and that's why we really do need to raise $150,000 a night to keep going and get us in a position we can reach a lot more schools. And so to undergird our efforts for 2022-2023 by expanding our grassroots efforts, training model, identifying, equipping, and unleashing leaders, and growing to more schools, I want to give you some ideas of things that we need to help as options of what we need gifts for. For instance, in some of the resources we create, $600 helps us create a decent amount of things like this that we can order, a certain amount for certain leaders in certain schools. $1,200 pays for food and drinks, really, for like a whole semester for a school. And I'll be honest, food is a major part of conversations. It is a very wise thing to use with food. You know, I used to do Moe's most of the time, but now I do pizza more. But I do Moe's some because it is give a surprise and a cool element. We like to do catalytic events because they're very important. And it'll cost upwards about $2,400 to do a catalytic event. $2,400 will also cover one of our outreaches when we do something like ice cream. We could do hot chocolate bar experience for the whole school. Adairsville Middle had 800 students. Lambert has close to 3,000, so the amounts change, but with $2,400 helps cover those things that really accelerate the movement and spread it. $4,800 helps fund a brand new school launch, a strong kickoff for a semester. $12,000 provides us with a catalytic regional event where we can take it to another level. And frankly, as we grow, we're having students come to us. And they're like, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to train them, and they're just going to go do it. We're talking about, honestly, I may have some principals call me soon and say, hey, man, we got this thing starting our school. Like, yeah, well, they came to our gathering, we trained them, and you know what? They're getting after it, so get behind them. So we're going to do that. And so we're going to do regional events because the hunger's so bad. We're going to find the leaders, and we're going to train them, and it's going to expand a lot more. And then the principals are going to like us a lot. Because I'll be honest, Whisper's pretty radical. It's not like for 100% of schools. And we want to change things, and we want to make the ripples, and that's why these principles are so inspiring. $25,000 funds our need for administrative and operational assistance. $25,000 funds the build out. Another $25,000 builds out of our first online resource and training platform. Now that's keeping it a low amount to do the best we can with, because we already have some help in that area. And so those are some ways that can help us reach our goal and really take this movement to a much different level. And so what I want to do in this last part here before Bryan comes up is explain what an investment is in Whisper and kind of explain it and how we designed it in a way where we think Whisper is very effective and worthy of your support. I think many people have already responded to our needs for Whisper that are presented or want to come and help us achieve our goals. And you obviously have no obligation to do so, but if you want to, we want to give you the opportunity to do that. And so there's 3 ways to make an investment that I want to share with you. And the first way is through a cash offering, and obviously giving whatever you got, whatever cash you have, or writing a check. The second is through a monthly commitment. We need monthly donors. We really do. We need people to support us monthly. It's the bread and butter of what we're doing. I'm working on this new thing that I'll share probably next year called the Arrow, where if like 10 people gave $100 a month, we had to self-sustain a school year-round. Pretty cool. We can self-sustain movements throughout a school. We need monthly, and a commitment to give monthly is huge. And then there's a third way that you can give tonight, and that's by what I'm going to call a faith promise. I'm not just spinning it on spirituality necessarily, but a faith promise is a real exciting way to give. And a faith promise is where you do give by faith. Or you say, I want to give by faith. What you feel led to do, what you're describing, I mean, in the sense is hear the whisper, Have faith, like here, what is it that may be prompting you to hear the whisper and to consider what you desire to give, but even after that, what amounts put on your heart, mind, and what you can trust for it to come in through fruition, and to know that this vessel that you can be a channel providing resources to Whisper is something you can make by faith, even if it's something you didn't have in your mind before. And so the basis for giving by faith, or a faith promise, is to give according to your ability, but also beyond your ability. And so first, if you give according to your ability, you're giving out of your resources, but also beyond your ability. To stretch yourself means you're giving out of resources beyond you. And you may not be able to give more, but we know that it can happen. We know that it can happen, and we want to believe that. And so a faith promise is not part of what you may be already giving to, current income, depending on that income. A faith promise is like, I'm hearing it. This message is touching me tonight. I want to stand behind it. I want to make it happen, and I want to stretch myself from even a different kind of source of income. A faith promise is not a pledge. It's not a horizontal agreement between you, a worthy cause, a nonprofit, a church. It's a vertical agreement of like, I want to do this. And Whisper may be the recipient of that agreement, but nothing less. It's made in faith. So those are 3 ways that I want to encourage you to give. I want to encourage you to stretch because we need it. We need it to grow, and we're on the cusp of a lot more. And so thank you for who already are giving to what we're doing. I want to encourage you, if you've already given to Whisper, to consider giving even beyond what you're doing tonight to help us reach our goal and to make this happen.